Welcome back, everyone, to a new episode of Under the Lights, an Inside the Dome series, might I say. I am John Dodaro. I am joined with Carlin Jacob today, as normal.
Mr. Squeaky Boy.
Yeah, Mr. Squeaky Chair Carlin. I do want to say something real quick. I like being transparent with you all. If you do hear a nice chair from Carlin in the background when he talks, it's because for some reason we use Riverside as our recording site, and when I export the audio, normally when I click remove background noise, it takes out the background noise, but I learned that it was the result of some glitchy audio that I've been hearing in some episodes. So for now, I am not removing background noise in some of these episodes. So if you do hear Carlin's chair make an appearance, that is why. So,
And as well, for any of the people watching on YouTube, my camera is completely different.
is it?
Normally my camera's like up that way, but it's not. You're just on my laptop today. And the reason you're on my laptop is because my dad is still using my setup.
Man.
So for the time being, we're just stuck here. I'm going to figure out something. We'll have to see when it goes down. But it's not going to affect you guys as much. You only get 2 episodes. Seeing our beautiful faces and our beautiful jerseys. John is wearing his beautiful Steeler jersey. Who you got on?
Najee.
I got my Jaylen Brown jersey on because
NBA
starts today, actually.
Not
the day we're recording it, but the day we're releasing this. And we're going to get to that. We've got a bunch of questions. We've got a bunch of topics to talk about in this hour. So, John, it's been a week.
It's been a week. It has been. It has been a week. I do want to say real quick, as we're recording, the 49ers versus Vikings game is going on right now. So if I ever say anything regarding that game, that is why. Just as I'm speaking, Alexander Madison just had a big run. So shout out to him.
The game 7 of the ALCS is on right now. Texas is leading 3-0 against Houston. So we'll see what happens. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we might be giving some highlights throughout the episode, even though the game would probably be over by the time you all are hearing this. But anyway, let's get to the topics because we do have a lot of questions to answer. So the first thing I want to talk about, we're Steelers fans. I'm wearing a Steelers jersey right now, and I like giving our Steeler thoughts every week for Under the Lights. So another week has passed for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They recently just defeated the Los Angeles Rams, which almost seemed like it was a home game for the Steelers in LA. It literally was. It was crazy.
Insane. It's insane.
I think you all know my thoughts on this team. You know my thoughts on Matt Canada and how I still think he should be fired and this team won't go anywhere with him. But I will say one thing. Right now, the Steelers are on the same trend as they were last season in terms of the offense. Not as a team as a whole, but the offense. Last season, the offense started out absolutely terrible. And it was unwatchable. People wanted Matt Canada fired at the bye week. They came out of the bye week. The offense improved slightly. They got a running game going. Kenny Pickett was able to throw the ball effectively at times, have some clutch plays. So then, near the end of the season, it's like, oh, maybe this offense could work. Maybe they can start to build on something. Well, guess what? Right now, we are in the exact same situation. The offense starts out terrible in the first half, and then after the bye week, they show signs of life. And they did. The offense in the second half, I know, Carlin, you were telling me the other day, like, the second half, the offense was pretty good. It was. They were making good plays, big-time plays from Deontay Johnson and George Pickens.
We were a second-half team that game. Even in the first half, they didn't, came out of the gate swinging. But during the first half a little bit, I was like, this is a better first-half team than we've seen. It wasn't all 3 and outs. They didn't get any third-down conversions until, one toward the end of the first half. But for the first half, I didn't think it was horrible. I didn't think it was good. But
yeah, I mean, the thing that I'm scared with is the fact, if this offense keeps doing, okay, they might have the urge to keep Matt Canada again. And I'm scared if that is the reality. So that's why when the Ravens won, I said, we won, but at what cost? I feel like I'm going to be saying that every week.
I agree with you. I think Mr. Rooney has listened to all the backlash. And Mr. Rooney, I hope you have listened Seriously, I hope you have listened to this whole team backlash. Even if the Steelers somehow go 13-4 this season, like the way that John and I have predicted them to go, which why the heck did we say we were going 13-4 with Matt Canada?
There's still a chance.
Yeah, why did we say that? But even if they go 13-4, Matt Canada still causes crappy same plays and the offense wins us games. You still let this man go, no matter what. The Ravens even made it to the playoffs last year and they let go of their offensive coordinator. So please, no matter what happens this season, I don't even care if we win the Super Bowl. Matt Canada calls the greatest Super Bowl of all time. Let him go. He's not worth it.
Literally just let him go. I'm just done seeing his face on. They love showing him on TV all the time. They really do.
Him and Taylor Swift.
They just show Matt Canada more than Taylor Swift. They show Canada more.
Next year, the Steelers play Kansas City here. Taylor Swift flies to Pittsburgh to go see Travis Kelce play. And Matt Canada's still there. Who do they show more?
Oh, Matt Canada. They show Matt Canada like almost on every single Steelers drive. They show him on almost every single Steelers offensive drive. Funny. It's crazy.
So the 3 touchdowns we got were all rushing. Kenny, Najee, Warren. You could tell what Canada called it, and Canada goes...
He brings me so much joy watching those games, just seeing his beautiful face. I'm just kidding. But
hey, honestly, what's wrong with his face?
Nothing's wrong with his face.
Don't disrespect the man. Disrespect his play calling. You can disrespect his play calling.
Yeah. Then again, the Steelers are miraculously 4-2 right now. I don't even know how they are, but the NFL in general is weird. Yeah, well, defense is carrying it.
So I want to hear your quick opinion. If you want to hear my opinion on this, make sure you go check our TikTok. It's been booming a little bit lately. TikTok algorithm is whack. I've been texting John about it.
It is.
We got like 40 views the one day. We got like 30 likes. And it stood like that for an hour. It made no sense to me. But I want to hear a quick thought. So the Steelers, obviously, I think we can both agree on this. They did not get that first down.
Oh, they didn't.
They did not get that first down.
Yeah.
But can you blame the game on that first down? Because I always say no.
Here's what I blame it on. I blame it on good old Brett Maher, the Rams kicker, who just went back to his Dallas days there. I mean, he was doing very well this season, but really the game should have been 24-24. Should have been a tie game. The Steelers should have been driving for a field goal if Brett Maher didn't miss everything, essentially. That's really what I blame it on more than anything. The Rams kicker sold. And
Stafford threw a pick 6, essentially.
That too. But Brett Maher, I think, was the biggest reason why the Rams lost. You could have that 4th and 1 or whatever it was definitely hurt as well. And then also they called a pass interference on Akello Witherspoon right before that, and I think that was kind of BS in my opinion too.
Call. Yeah.
So they kind of had 2 back-to-back calls against the Rams that kind of sucked. So Steelers kind of got saved, but I think Brett Maher, the Rams kicker, kind of saved them too. But I don't want to go too long on the Steelers. The NFL episode, I'm actually very excited for the NFL episode dropping tomorrow because the state of the NFL is weird right now. In terms of like all the teams at the moment, it's very weird. We'll get into all of that in Wednesday's episode, so definitely stay tuned tomorrow. But another thing I want to talk about regarding the NFL, but primarily one player, and this deals with fantasy football too, for you Bijan Robinson owners, and I feel like a lot of you are very mad. Are you aware of what happened yesterday?
Yeah, didn't he say he had a non-contact injury, but he was sick? They didn't announce it before the game, and that's why he didn't get as much snaps, right?
So, yeah, I'll tell everything that I know. So he woke up with a headache, and I mean, it could be something serious, like it could have been like a migraine or something, but I digress. So and first off, on fantasy and everything, he's rolled active the whole time. He's not questionable. He hasn't been questionable at all for previous days. And he's going through warm-ups, and I think they're investigating this right now. The NFL's investigating this because this is legit. So before the game started, he was not on the injury report or anything. Like, he wasn't questionable. Like, if a player's limited or something like that, it would be known. Like, the team would announce that before the game. It was not announced. Bijan was literally rolled active and healthy before the game. And I was on Twitter or X the whole time. like trying to figure out what happened. They didn't announce. Arthur Smith didn't say he wasn't feeling well until halftime. Like nobody knew what was going on with Bijan until halftime. Essentially, it wasn't like he was sitting on the sideline the whole time. He took some snaps. Like he only had one carry the whole game, but he was on the field here and there. Like I think like 6 times maybe, either total or something. But there was like one play in the first half. I just saw him standing out there, did like a small route, wasn't targeted. But yeah, he was limited in the game, but they rolled him active. They said there was nothing said that Bijan was sick or anything before the game started. So I heard DraftKings kind of refunded people who had Bijan bets, but if you look at fantasy too, like everybody who started Bijan got 0.3 fantasy points, and there was no heads up or anything. But the reason why I made this a topic is I do think it's serious because even just beyond NFL, like gambling, fantasy football are like two huge parts of football, really. And the team not announcing Bijan's injury is kind of serious. And I do think there's a chance they could get fined. But your thoughts on
So
some
I
of
got a
that?
question for you. Right.
Yeah.
So sorry. I need to like lean a little forward. Hold on. Okay. So your thoughts. I want to ask you two questions real quick. Number one, did they say what it was or no?
It was a headache. Bijan said it and Arthur Smith said it, but Arthur Smith only addressed it at halftime.
Okay. So here's my second question for you. Do you think this could have been like, okay, I'm assuming, okay, we're not saying this is what it is, this is what it wasn't, but you think it could have been like a Michael Jordan game
No, I don't.
with the flu situation? I know that was the upset stomach and stuff, and it's a little bit different, but like, do you think that happened, or do you think he just randomly woke up, didn't feel well, didn't tell anyone until during the game, like
Well,
he
I
was
think
gonna
the
let it
thing is,
ride?
he woke up feeling that way. That I know, and I think it was determined during warmups. Like he let Arthur Smith know, like during warmups, because he didn't start the game anyway at all. He didn't
No,
start,
he didn't.
and I think they knew during warmups. So if they knew during warmups that he wasn't feeling good and wasn't going to take many snaps, like that has to be announced.
Yeah,
Like
before.
the team has to address that before the game starts, that he's going to be limited or questionable, doubtful.
Yeah.
So that's where I think there is a problem, and I think the NFL is investigating that right
Yeah.
now.
Well, hopefully it's nothing too serious with Bijan because
I mean, it doesn't seem serious. He seemed
no,
fine, like post media,
but
but
the whole
I mean,
situation around it isn't good.
yeah, it really wasn't, and it was kind of, I don't know, it really surprised me. It surprised everybody on X too. Like nobody had a clue what was going on for half
Yeah.
the game with Bijan. So yeah, very serious topic there. Hopefully he does feel better though, and hopefully they do punish the Falcons if they did not disclose it quick enough. So we will see though. But next topic, I'll let you go first on this one. But oh, I hate talking about this, but I feel like we got to
We
talk
have
about
to.
it. We have
We
to.
have
We
to.
have to talk about our teams. And we're shifting to college football, and I'm very excited for college football this week. A lot of fun things to talk about, but this was not fun to talk about. Penn State versus Ohio State. It was the game of the week, technically. And I was excited for this game. I saw the majority of it before I had to go leave for the WVU versus Oklahoma State game. So I saw a lot of this game. But Penn State, Ohio State beat Penn State. I believe it was like 20-12 off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But I'll let you talk first about this. I got my thoughts, but what are your thoughts about Penn State right now?
We got questions revolving this down the line, so I don't want to get too into it. But this team was like, this might be the year. This might be the year Penn State beats Ohio State. And yes, we have beat Ohio State in the past. It's not like we haven't. Last time we won in Columbus was 2011. 2011. That's insane. We were 8 years old.
Wow.
You would have been 9. I would have been 8. That's insane. The last time we beat them in Columbus. But you couldn't get the victory. You couldn't get the ball going. You couldn't throw it. The running game was okay, and then they ran away from that apparently. And even when they tried, it stopped. I mean, granted, you had the scoop and recovery, which call back, and that was pass interference. It was. So makes sense. I get it. It was pass interference. Can't say that. But just they didn't play at all. It looked like the Steelers were out there, honestly. It looked like
Oh,
Matt
it does.
Canada was calling the Penn State offense. Drew Aller didn't do anything. He stunk. He stunk. And now you're worried because, okay, maybe if they somewhat played good against Ohio State, oh, Michigan might be easy. Michigan could be an easier game than normal. But the way they're going to play against Michigan, I'm scared, dude. I'm so
Yeah.
scared.
I mean,
I
when we do our predictions for that game, I honestly don't think I am going to take Penn
I don't
State.
think I'll take Penn State either.
Yeah. But I will say this. I did see the question that was asked regarding Penn State, but I will say this. I've been saying I recommend everybody listen to our college football episodes. They're very good. They're very fun, and we do talk about Penn State weekly, essentially. So I've been saying this with Penn State throughout these easy games. They've had a lot of easy games this season, and I feel like you should have been using these games, these easy ones, to test Drew Aller a bit, test the passing game, because I think the running game is a strength. It is. I mean, Nick Singleton, Kadron Allen, they have a great running game, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows Penn State is a good running game, but Drew Aller is a young quarterback, and they've had some easy games. They had to play West Virginia, which is easy, in my opinion. UConn the other week was an easy game. These should have been games where you try to get the most out of Drew Aller in the passing game. And I think there's just been too many games where they just relied on the running game. They would just take the easy approach, just try to get the win and move on. Because you're playing Ohio State, you're not just going to be able to rely on the running game against Ohio State. It's going to have to be in Drew Aller's hands. And I don't think they did enough to prepare him for this Ohio State game. I don't think they did enough to prepare Drew Aller. And he looked like he wasn't ready. This whole offense, the passing game, did not look like it was ready for this game. The Penn State defense was incredible. It's one of the best defenses in the league. They, aside from Marvin Harrison Jr. having a fantastic game, they really held this Ohio State offense to only 20 points, which is very good. So they really just messed up during this season. They had a lot of easy weeks with easy competition, and they did not prepare Drew Aller. They took the easy route in many weeks, in my opinion, just from watching this team. And like it'd be like 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. I'm like, okay, maybe they could try a passing play with Drew Aller, see what he's got, and they would run it. It'd be 1st and goal or something. They'd run it. Like there were just too many times where they played it safe over this season. I'd rather see Drew Aller trying to throw it. Maybe he throws a pick, but he learned something like that. But I mean, Drew Aller had no picks coming into this game, but he's been playing very safe, and I think it really bit Penn State here against Ohio State. Now they have an easy matchup coming up, and then I believe they play Michigan in about 2 weeks or so, 2 to 3 weeks. So they still have time, but they just did not prepare enough against Ohio State, and they suffered. They really did.
One more thing I want to talk about. Let's talk on Ohio State of the ball. With us being Penn State fans, we are going to be biased and say Ohio State stinks. But also, looking not as Penn State fans, Ohio State didn't play that good of a game. The only good part of that Ohio State game is Marvin Harrison Jr. and their defense. Their defense played great. They basically outplayed the Penn State defense. And the only reason Penn State was in this game so long was because of the Penn State's defense. Penn State couldn't get anything going. They only had 1 third down conversion until late in the game.
Yeah.
That's bad. That's Matt Canada numbers right there. But I want to talk about this real quick. I have a buddy who's an Ohio State fan. And so I texted him after this game, and he says, and we were texting, back and forth, and I said, you got the win, GG, and all this stuff. But what's your thoughts on Kyle McCord?
Yeah.
Kyle McCord is not a good quarterback right now. Right now. He is like the Jimmy G, in my opinion. He just does average enough. And I want Kyle McCord to prove me wrong. Think about it. Kyle McCord really hasn't had like a standout game besides Notre Dame. And even he agreed with me on that. He said, yeah, the only good game Kyle McCord's played was that Notre Dame game. And with also just saying, Ohio State's ranked number 3 in the country, right?
Yeah.
Let's say Michigan beats Penn State, which most likely will happen. Ohio State and Michigan will be number 2 and 3, unless the Georgia like completely fumbles the bag somehow.
They could.
And then it's going to go back to the question, who's going to win? I think Michigan's going to beat Ohio State personally, and we'll get to that down the road. But Michigan wins, and Ohio State somehow makes it back to the playoffs. I don't think Ohio State can get past the first round again. I think Ohio State doesn't have a great enough offense to do it, besides Marvin Harrison Jr. Their defense can keep them in, but if you're going up number 1 seed Georgia, you're not beating Georgia. There's no way you're beating Georgia with Kyle McCord as of now. Yeah. I get it. This is basically his first year playing, so we'll see what happens. Like I said, I would love for him to ball out. I would love for a Allard ball out, and we would get a good matchup next year. I just don't see it. I really don't.
I'll say one quick thing, and then we can move on about that. So I was talking with good old Lance, shout out to him as always, but we were talking about this in Ohio State, and I made the comparison with Kyle McCord to kind of CJ Stroud when he started with Ohio State. CJ Stroud did not start off well. People were wanting him benched. They lost to Oregon, I think, very early in his first season. Stroud was just not looking good. But then as the season went on, and to like the end of the season, Stroud became very good. And then that season ended where, I think it was that Rose Bowl game or something like that, where Jackson Smith and the Jigba had that insane game, and CJ Stroud was the quarterback. So it took CJ Stroud a good amount of time in his first year to kind of click. So I think there is still time for Kyle McCord to eventually click, but I do agree with you. He has not started out great. Aside from that Notre Dame game, he ended that game very well, but we will see. There is still more time, and we will be giving our predictions for those eventual games. I can't wait for Ohio State, Michigan, though. That's going to be a very good one. But some more college stuff real quick. WVU sports. I'll start with the good real quick, because
let's talk about the good.
There is some good, so it's not all terrible. I've been talking about WVU a bit last Under the Lights, and the soccer team is good. I will say that. They just beat last week number 1 Marshall by a score of 5-2, which was absolutely insane, in my opinion. Marshall, the whole season, they were 12-0, and the whole season they only gave up 5 goals. And then in this game, they gave up 5 goals to West Virginia. 3 goals in the span of like 2 minutes, I think. Like, it was insane. I was doing pre-half and post for the radio, and we were just losing our minds. I was so wrong on the pregame for that. My prediction was terrible. But then again, it was unprecedented what happened. And for some reason, Marshall was still ranked number 1, and West Virginia was still ranked number 5 after that game. I guess they're just looking at record alone, because West Virginia still has some ties. No losses, though. But very good win there for West Virginia. I believe they won their next game 2-0. I forget who it was against, but they won their following game. And yeah, West Virginia soccer, very good, but West Virginia football sucks. So, yeah, Oklahoma State game. I was there at the stadium. It was bad. I mean, it was close for a while. And then Garrett Green blew it. It was 4th down. They could have ran it, but Garrett Green decided to hold on to the football, got sacked. The Oklahoma State running back had 282 rushing yards on only like 29 attempts and like 4 touchdowns, I think, 3 or 4 touchdowns. It was just brutal. The whole team just collapsed. It really did. I think I can talk a little unbiased here since I'm not on the radio, but Neil Brown, we're back on the fire Neil Brown train. We are. I mean, at first, 11-1 was a possibility. 10-2, 9-3 was a possibility. Now they're just fighting for a bowl game at this point. They only need 2 more wins to get a bowl game. They have 5 more matchups, and some of them are tough. They're playing UCF this week, who UCF nearly just beat Oklahoma. So that's not going to be easy. And then in a couple weeks, they play Oklahoma. So both those games are away. So West Virginia football is crumbling as we speak. They need to change something up. I hope they fire Neil Brown after the season, but they probably won't. So I will probably go all of my years at West Virginia with Neil Brown as the head coach. But the other thing, I don't know too much about this, but you put this down, Carlin. Pitt
You don't know
had a
about
game
this?
too.
You don't know
I mean,
about this?
I know, but I don't know much about it.
So, I'm going to have to pull up the stats to exactly say what happened. So, we're going to talk about Pitt football here, which may
Pitt
be
football.
Pitt football, man. All right. So, Pitt football upset Louisville last week. Not this past game, but the game before. They upset Louisville in Pittsburgh 38-21. So, you go to Wake Forest and you think, you know what? It's Wake Forest. Should be an easy game, right? Pitt, it's tied going into halftime, 7 apiece. And then Pitt was winning, I'm pretty sure, at the end of the game. They were up 17 to, I don't remember, whatever, 21 minus 7, 14, 17 to 14. They were up by a field goal, I'm pretty sure. And what happened, it's so funny. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I know something major happened. So I'm pretty sure Pitt went for it. Johnny might have to fact check me on this. It was 4th and 1. Pitt went for it, failed, gave the ball back to Wake Forest. Wake Forest scored the game-winning touchdown with like 10 seconds left, I'm pretty sure. So Pitt basically choked, and I think Pitt could have kicked a field goal, I'm pretty sure.
Don't ask me to fact
Yeah,
check,
I'm
by the
not
way.
pretty sure, but
I was
basically,
watching West Virginia.
let's Google the ending. I'm so sorry. I should
I think they scored like on a game-winning touchdown.
I'm pretty sure they did. I'm pulling up a YouTube video that says the thrilling ending.
You put this topic on the list, and
I know.
you don't even know.
I'm choking so bad right now. So let's see. Yeah. So they were up 17-14 with 1:03 left in the game. Pitt. What's it called? Yeah, Pitt punted. 3rd and 9. Oh, yes. This was a very controversial call. So sorry. Here's what happened. 3rd and 9. 3rd and 9. Can I say what happened? 3rd and 9.
You can say. Well, I do.
Their quarterback literally has the game in his hands, runs the ball to get the first down. Gets the first down. He knows he gets the first down. Slides. They put the ball back behind the first yard. So essentially, he got the first down. He knew he got the first down, so he slid. But they put a bad mark and said he didn't get the first down. Therefore, Pitt had to punt the ball because they were on their own 20. Punted the ball to Wake Forest. Wake Forest marched down the field and won the game.
Wow.
So essentially, the officiating screwed Pitt.
Nah, I don't buy it. I think Pitt just lost.
All I'm saying is it was a clear first down. There were two Pitt games this weekend for controversial first downs. One went our way, one didn't.
I will say with Pitt, we're actually going to be talking about them in this week's college football episode because they play Notre Dame, who is ranked. So Pitt will be talked about this week in this week's college football episode. So definitely stay tuned to that. But moving on from college football, MLB. We kind of hinted at it earlier. Right now, there's a game going on live at the moment. So, Carlin, I'm throwing you on the spot here. So, what's been going on right now?
Right
in the
now,
MLB
we're going
playoffs?
to the bottom. We're going to the bottom of the third. The Rangers and Astros are in Game 7. The Rangers are currently winning 3-1 right now in Game 7. I'm personally rooting for the Rangers. I want a Rangers D-back series. World Series. I think that will be a very fun World Series. And John might turn on the World Series and watch it if it's a Rangers D-back series.
And the Phillies and Diamondbacks are on a Game 7 now?
Yes, they will be going to Game 7 tomorrow. Diamondbacks absolutely crushed the Phillies today, 5-1.
Are we talking Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday, Tuesday.
Okay.
So today they play Game 7. You already know who's the ALCS champion right now. We do
Yeah.
not, as we're recording this, but everyone knows. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Like I said, I'm rooting for a Rangers Diamondbacks World Series, but if if the Astros win, it's going to be a Astros Phillies World Series, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Rematch from
it's.
last year.
I will say I actually did watch a game, and it was I believe
Wow.
Game 5 of the Phillies and Diamondbacks. And right when I turned on the game, the Phillies choked. So maybe that's a good sign. Maybe Philly will
Yeah, maybe
lose when I
watch
watch.
tomorrow. Maybe watch
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I
But
might just watch it tomorrow. I'll see. I think there might be something else on Tuesday. I don't know,
yes,
but
there is. We'll get to it.
uh,
Um, there's two things actually, but Game One of the World Series will officially be this Friday. So if you got nothing else going on, watch it because I'm sure it's going to be a great World Series. Hey, Philly's in it. Philly's a great team to watch. As much as Johnny
yeah,
and I don't like Philadelphia, Philly is a great team to watch. I'm not going to lie. I enjoy watching them. If it's Phillies versus Astros, I'm taking Phils.
I like it.
Anyone
Uh,
else besides the
uh,
Astros, I don't care who wins. So
well then, moving on. We got about 9 more minutes or so before when I get into the questions. So we
speed
will
run.
we'll do a speed run here for these last two topics. The NHL. We did not do an episode this week on it. I was busy on the recording day, so we're throwing it on under the lights. So week 2. I want to talk about Penguins first off, and right now the NHL app sucks as always, but just going through what they've been doing. They play today against the Stars. The Stars are currently 3-1. The Penguins, on the other hand, are 2-3. And this,
Typical.
I hate this NHL app. I'm so sorry. I have to say it again. There's not even a calendar. Like, it's so messed up. The app is just so
Just use
messed
the
up.
Penguins app.
I am well. Okay, I don't. No, because I need to see all of the NHL right now because we're
The
covering
news
everything.
ESPN.
Okay, I don't want to kill time. I don't want to kill time. So
My.
recently, I forget the last game that we covered. I think it was the win against Columbus we covered. And
Yes.
wait, no. Okay, I hate this app. I hate this app. It's only showing me preseason. Okay. Can you pull by any chance? Do you know what's happened with the Penguins? I'm trying to find it. This
My.
NH. Actually, I got it. I got it. I'm on ESPN now. There we go. I can actually see the
Bro
games.
gave up
So
and went to ESPN.
I did. The NHL app is just terrible. I recommend nobody use it. So I believe we covered the game against the Flames. So they had two games since. One against the Red Wings where they lost 6-3. Really, it was 3-4, but then they scored two empty netters. And then they lost to the Blues 4-2. Tristan Jarry was the goaltender for both. But I couldn't see much of these two games. Evgeny Malkin continues to be the best player on this team. For what I know, I believe they benched what's his name? Number 73 defenseman. Oh my god. He goes by like 3 letters. I'm blanking so
PJ.
hard.
Oh, PO.
P.O. Joseph. Uh POJ. Yeah, I think they benched him the one game. That bottom pairing for the defenseman has not been good. The bottom six also has just not contributed much for the Penguins. Though Zahorna, somebody who they added into the lineup, scored a goal. So there is that. But the Penguins are trying to find more depth scoring soon. The top six continues to be great, but they need their depth to start to do better, I would say. But other stuff that happened as we are speaking on Monday, the Canadians and Sabres are tied 1-1 at the moment. But right now, with the NHL, I'm going back to the NHL app so I could see this. In the league, there are 3 teams that are undefeated still. The Vegas Golden Knights, who are the defending Stanley Cup champions, are 6-0 right now. The Boston Bruins, who had some losses, are 5-0 right now. They're undefeated. And the Colorado Avalanche are also 5-0. Those 3 teams, I would not expect all 3 to be undefeated right now, but they are. Detroit, who I believe the Penguins beat them. I'm not sure I'm struggling again.
They lost to them. The
Oh
Red
no, they
Wings.
lost. Okay, I'm flipping between two apps. Yeah, I was thinking of a different team. Yeah, they lost. The Penguins lost to Detroit, but Detroit is 5-1 right now. So they're very good. And some of the worst teams in the league at the moment, San Jose Sharks have yet to get a win. The Ducks only have one win. Seattle only has one win. Edmonton only has one win. And the Capitals only have one win. So those teams are lacking right now. But another week in the NHL down. And hopefully the Penguins start winning. Like I said, they play tonight against Dallas. But good thing I'm still on the ESPN app. The last thing I want to discuss before we get into the questions. Today is the first day of the NBA regular season. And I'm excited because my bandwagon team, the Golden State Warriors, play today. And I will be watching. It will be on TNT. Both games will actually be on TNT. But first game, the defending NBA champs, the Denver Nuggets, go against the Lakers. LeBron James in action. Nikola Jokic in action. Anthony Davis, if he doesn't get injured, he's in action. So that's going to be a very fun game, in my opinion.
Sorry.
A great way to open up the season, in my opinion. Then the second game, the Phoenix Suns go to Golden State to play the Warriors. And I'm rooting for my Warriors. I am, everybody that knows me, I'm a Warriors bandwagon because Pittsburgh has no team. And I would never root for the Philly team. So,
Same.
yeah.
Or Cleveland.
Yeah.
Or
so,
Cleveland.
essentially, I have to pick a bandwagon. I never grew up liking an NBA team. So, really, I have the luxury of picking a team. So, I picked the Warriors, and I will not back off. I made my choice. At this point now, I can't bandwagon to a new team because I have picked a team for at least a year now. So,
And
Warriors are my team.
until Pittsburgh gets a team, which may
Until
happen.
Pittsburgh gets a team.
Happen.
It's 1 in a million chance, probably.
Hey, who knows? They always are looking for it to expand. But before we get to that, John, you had to pick right now, who's winning it. But before we get to it, because I want you to think about it.
Oh, I already have my answer.
Breaking news. Before actually John and I sat down to record this, per someone in the NBA, the only reason I know this happened is Adam Schefter, we tweeted it. Giannis got an extension. I think it was a $184 million 3-year extension.
It's okay. I just pulled it up. It's on X right now. Bleacher Report said Giannis Antetokounmpo agreed on a 3-year, $186 million contract extension.
That's nuts.
So I'm seeing what that is yearly. 186. So it's $62 million per year. I think that's more than Jaylen Brown's because I think Jaylen Brown had the biggest.
Yeah, I googled the contract. He had like 380 something.
Yeah, which was ridiculous. It was that Jaylen Brown deal was utterly ridiculous. I will say though, Celtics don't play Tuesday, but they play on Wednesdays.
I'll be watching.
Yeah, a lot of teams play. That game will be on ESPN, so it is watchable.
Yes, I'll be watching.
Yeah, they play the Knicks. That's actually be a pretty good game. I might be watching that too if nothing else is on. But I'll
be rooting my favorite player, Jason Tatum. So,
yeah,
I want to say.
I also didn't answer your question.
I know. I'm gonna answer it real quick before you answer. So here's how I think it's gonna go. Right, in the East, it's gonna be Miami versus the Celtics again. But I think Miami's gonna get the 1 seed.
You think Miami's gonna get the 1 seed?
I don't know basketball.
You think Miami? I'm thinking the Bucks to get it.
I think the Bucks are going to choke somehow.
I think the Bucks could at least get the 1 seed at this point.
Okay, but I think it's going to be I still think it's going to be the Heat and Celtics, and then in the West, I'm thinking it's going to be the Suns and the Warriors. And the only reason I'm saying that, John, before you look at me, is that because that's all of our favorite teams.
Okay.
That's the only reason I'm saying.
Okay, so okay.
If I had to pick right now, I'm between the Celtics because they're my favorite team, but I'm between the Celtics, the Bucks, or the Nuggets to repeat. Which I think most likely it's going to be the Nuggets to repeat.
I got the Nuggets winning it all right now. That's my early
Yeah, same.
prediction. I just think they haven't lost much in their starting lineup, or all, in fact. So as
I
long as
will.
they stay healthy, I think the Nuggets have the best chance.
I will say one more thing. I think it's going to be a very weird season just because they're finally introducing the NBA in season tournament
Yeah,
this year. So that's going to have the huge factor, I'm going to say. So we'll
yeah,
see what happens.
yeah. I'm very excited. So NBA is on tonight. Penguins are on tonight. So stay tuned for both those games. They
Baseball's
should
on
be,
tonight.
and baseball too. Game 7. Oh my goodness,
And
everything's on tonight.
I'm
It's
sure college
crazy.
football's on too.
Yeah, we
Everything
might
but
we
professional football.
we might have to like just do a whole recap of what happened today because there's just so much. But
Yeah, no.
we ain't doing that. We don't
No,
got
we're
the
not doing
time.
that. I'm watching
But
baseball.
maybe some TikToks. Maybe some TikToks. But other
Yes,
than that,
you can
that's
make
going to
it
do
pick
it
up.
for the topics. So around 41 minutes, 42 minutes by the time we add the intro to this. But let's get to the questions. So
Yes, sir.
Carlin was tasked with getting the questions this week. I've been doing it
Oh,
every week. And I told him, I'm not getting any. It's all on you. And he
and you did.
delivered.
You did though.
Carlin delivered. He really did. I am not going to lie. So,
Shout out to our fans, aka my family and
yeah,
John's family, and everyone else who listens, like Lance and Devin.
yes.
So
Yeah, I got a couple. Yeah, we got a good amount of questions here. So we're going to go through them. I
speed
think
one.
some of these, it only says Carlin. So I'm assuming these are questions just for me, from you. I'm
No.
assuming.
There's like my dad. I didn't put my
Well,
dad's
no,
name.
I see like two that just say Carlin
Yeah,
next to
because
them.
I have two questions for myself.
Okay, so let's get through them. So the first one that you ask, uh, thoughts on the tush push? I guess this is a discussion. Honestly is a discussion again. We've talked
But
about this and
before you say what your thoughts are, you want to hear my thoughts?
yeah.
Go to our TikTok.
Oh,
That's where I gave my thoughts. But since John doesn't post on TikTok as often, he'll be getting there. Don't worry. Go over there and check it out because I think I gave a great answer for what I gave. So
hey. I think my fun answer would be if they're gonna ban it, they should ban the QB sneak altogether. But in my opinion, like if you ban the tush push, it's like so. What are you? So what are they banning? Are two people not allowed to push him? Is that formation banned? So then it's like, can they just push one person behind him or something? Like, will they just ban people pushing on the QB sneak? Like, I don't get it, but it shouldn't be banned because I've seen a lot of teams try it this season. Too many teams to count. A lot of teams have tried the tush push, and the only team that has done it effectively is the Eagles. They're the only team that does it effectively. Jason Kelsey, one of the best centers in the whole league, is a big reason for why the tush push works, or I should say the brotherly shove for the Eagles. So he's a big factor. Jalen Hurts can squat 600 pounds, so that also helps. It shouldn't be banned. I said it a couple episodes ago. It could be banned if every team was doing it successfully to the point where every 4th and 1 was just an automatic first down because everybody mastered the tush push. Then I could see it. They're trying to say that injuries could be a case. I haven't seen anybody get injured on it. I think there might be like one case of it, but it shouldn't be banned until either every team can do it successfully or if like a major injury happens. But if it's just because the Eagles are so good with it, we gotta get rid of it. The key is only the Eagles are good with it, so it shouldn't
and
be banned.
the other thing I'm going to mention real quick before you said it. Um, I I get he's pushing on his butt. That's why we call it the tush push or the brotherly shove. But like you said, if everyone was good at it, everyone would do it.
Yeah,
Also, don't let them get to 4th and 1.
exactly.
That's
That
true.
happened. It was so funny though. Last game against the Dolphins, it was literally at their own 25, and it was 4th and 1. They were like, "We're just gonna do it," and they got it. They did it. It was back to back things. It was like 4th and 1 at the 25. They went for it. They got it. Then 4th and 1 again. It was at like the 30 or 40. They did it again and got it. They did it at the goal line. It's unbeatable for the most part. Actually, you could go on YouTube and watch a couple attempts where they did not get it. So they have been stopped in the past. So it's not completely unbeatable, but they shouldn't ban it. I honestly enjoy watching it because it just shows how good their O line is and how good Jalen or how strong Jalen Hurts is. So I do like it. But next question. This is from Carlin's dad. So shout out to you, Carlin's dad. Penn State related question. Do you think James Franklin will ever consistently beat Ohio State and Michigan? Now,
I put consistently the question. He said in general, but Franklin has beat State and Michigan.
yeah, they've beaten Michigan more recently. I think they beat them during the Sean Clifford days at one point.
The
But
2019 whiteout, that famous clip of their quarterback running out, and you
yeah,
hear the Penn State Lights, and they play Mo Bamba, and he
oh
gets like
yeah,
this in the background and can't hear.
oh yeah, I remember that. Great times. But yeah, I with James Franklin, I I don't know. I think the hope is going to be next season. Hopefully, Drew Aller is better next season, a year under his belt. Hopefully, they can learn how to develop him. No, hopefully, a new coordinator too. I don't know who it is, but he's on Matt Canada level. So if they could really open up this offense, keep the defense consistent. I know they're going to lose their top tackle in the draft. He'll be top 5 potentially. He has a weird name. I can't pronounce it off the top of my head. They might lose some other guys in the draft too. So I think they have a chance next year. I think that would be the case. I think Drew Aller would technically be eligible after next season for the draft, but I don't know what he's going to do. Either go after his junior year or senior year.
I
But
think he'll probably go after his senior year.
I think it just depends on how he does junior year. Like if he looks like very good next year, which I think he can, like he definitely has the potential. It's just he's very raw right now. Let's just say that Drew Aller is just very raw at the moment, and like he has all the tools to be like a first round quarterback. He's just got to put it together, and I think next year would be the chance at this point. So I think they've stalled out this year, but I do think next year at least they have a much better chance, and Ohio State will not have Marvin Harrison Jr. So that is something to consider. And JJ McCarthy might not be the quarterback for Michigan next year. I don't know about his status, so there is that. But your thoughts?
I don't know. I truly don't know. I mean, over the years, it's been hard for us to beat Ohio State. We obviously beat them back in 2017 with the famous whiteout game, blocking the field goal. And I remember my dad calling my name and saying, Carlin, come watch this. And that place went absolutely nuts. And then you obviously have the 2019 whiteout game where we obviously beat them. But yeah, we've been struggling a lot against Ohio State. We're going to struggle against Michigan too. So with that being said, I mean, if he can't beat them like next year or something, you got to do something. Whether you get a new head coach or something. But even like if Aller has all the pieces and it's just not going well, you got to do something about it, you know? Just because he's never been able to consistently beat Ohio State in his career. And you think about how many head coaches has Ohio State had since James Franklin's been there. It's more than you think. Urban Meyer, Ryan Day.
Yeah,
So
I guess. I will say though, like they will still have Singleton and Katron Allen next year, so they'll still have their running backs, but I think it just depends on if Drew Aller makes the next step. I just dropped something. My bad. But moving on. Next question. This was from Carlin's mom. So shout out to Carlin's mom. We have not given you a shout out yet. Or Carlin's dad, too. So shout out to you both. What are the odds of the Penguins making it to the playoffs this season? You can go first if you want.
0.
0.
The way this team's been playing, they're not making it.
Really?
They're 2-3.
They're 2-3 in an 82 game season.
I know. There's a lot more games to be played, but they just haven't really played. Granted, we're young. We've talked about this. Besides the big three and then a couple other players here and there, we have a lot of young talent. So, like you said, though, if our bottom lines can click more, then yeah, we probably will have a really good chance. Because Jari can't carry us every 5 seconds. when he lets up 4 goals. I'm not a big hockey fan. You know this.
The
You know
Penguins
this.
are one of, I think we said this before. The Penguins are one of the oldest teams in the league.
They are.
They are not filled
They
with
are.
young
But they
talent.
have younger players too. They don't have players that like they got a lot of people off of waivers and all this stuff.
They have new players,
Yes, we've
not
talked about
young
this. We're not
players.
talking about this.
Not young
So
players,
they have to click
new
first.
players.
As of right now, if the season would start tomorrow, no. Like if like you were saying, like you did, like everyone played like a March Madness tournament, the Penguins wouldn't win at all.
Yeah, I don't see this team as a Stanley Cup team. I see them at this very moment. I could see them making it to the first round and losing, but it's too early to tell, in my opinion. We haven't seen enough. I think this game against Dallas could also be very telling. Right now, though, I would say they would miss the playoffs barely, but it's nothing certain. I think they're right in that bubble at the moment. They have potential. Evgeny Malkin's had a great start to his season, but it could go either way. But I don't think there's like a 0% chance. But it's 50-50 right now, I would say, at this very moment. But moving on. This is from Carlin's grandfather. So shout out to you, Carlin's grandfather.
Hi,
Thank you.
grandfather. I know
Thank
you're
you
watching
for
this. So send me the
thank
link.
you for sending in a question. But when are they gonna get rid of Levi Wallace and other? Who's the other Steeler corner? Are you talking about Patrick?
So he said Levi Wallace, and he's not wrong. Levi Wallace has been very bad.
Just say it, bad.
But I added the second part of this question with other cornerbacks because Patrick Peterson's been getting torched. He hasn't really done anything great.
He's not been as bad as Levi Wallace, but he's not been.
No,
I would rather, if I had to choose one, it'd be Patrick Peterson.
Well, you think
probably.
Patrick Peterson? They put him on like the fastest. They had him on Puka at one play, and I told my dad, I said, "You have the youngest player in the NFL going up against one of the oldest cornerbacks in the NFL. Who's winning that? You know?"
Well, here's the funny thing: is on the 2-point conversion try, they had Cooper Kupp one-on-one with Levi Wallace, and Kupp torched him.
Yep.
For the 2 points, and I mean, it's just. I think. Well, Levi Wallace shouldn't be a starter. Joey Porter should be a starter at this point. Levi Wallace should be the rotational guy at this point. I mean, it should be Joey Porter, Patrick Peterson. I guess Chandon Sullivan has the slot job. But Levi Wallace should not be matched up on the top wide receivers. At most, he's like a cornerback 3 on a team. But I don't know. I could see them try to move on next offseason to answer your question, Carlin's grandfather. I do think after this season they could try to move on from him. But I don't know. He's just not good this season. He can't be in the starting lineup on the best wide receivers. He got torched against Devontae Adams. He was getting torched this game. He let Tutu Atwell get a touchdown this past game. It was just terrible. But I hope he's not a starter anymore. But next question. Actually, we got a nice run here of questions from Carlin's sister. So, Carlin's sister, thank you very much for the questions.
You're forgetting my personal question. I wanted to hear your thoughts very quick.
I did skip your personal question.
NFL taunting.
Just in general?
Yeah, because obviously you had the Deontay Johnson taunting and the George Pickens taunting.
Yeah, I mean those were bad. I mean, he was getting their faces, I believe. It's a dumb penalty on their part. Not saying like the penalty itself is dumb, but like it was dumb on George Pickens and Deontay Johnson to do that. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't mind taunting penalty. I mean, sometimes the refs go too far with them, but at least with the Steeler games, I thought they were fine penalties. You got to have sportsmanship in the game. You can't be doing stuff like that. I feel like you should be
able to be like, yeah, like you can look at him and be like, yeah, like that's on you, yada yada. But like you can't like get in with like his bubble, we'll say.
Yeah, like you can like do trash talking like when you're away from the player and stuff. But like if you go direct, like both Pickens and Deontay, I think like went up to the player.
They did.
And Tomlin was mad at George Pickens after he did his. And yeah, I do. I mean, it's fine. Sometimes the refs go too far with taunting, but you got to have it though. You got to have the penalty there because if you don't have it, then it could be a messy game here and there. But it could be more fun. But there's been some fun moments with taunting that I actually liked. Going back to the Buccaneers versus Chiefs in the Super Bowl when Antoine Winfield Jr. gave Tyreek the peace sign. I loved that, but it was called a taunting. But yeah, taunting. I like it. Next, now let's get to Carlin's sister and her questions. So, first one. I lost it for a second. Well, it's kind of similar to what we were talking about. How do you feel about the officiating in the NFL? You can answer that first, Carlin. How do you feel about it?
So I didn't watch the Eagles uh, Dolphins game because I was too busy playing Spider Man. I was gonna have the game going on the side, and I completely forgot about it. But I did hear that the Eagles had all the penalties, and Philly had none, which I do find very hard to believe. I know they had two penalties, and two of them are offset. But yeah, some of these calls are bad. Like the DPI on the Rams, that was not DPI. There were some other big ones too this week that made no sense to me. But the officiating's gone downhill in the NFL. I remember
Yeah.
one thing I always scream at Steeler games is that they need to go get a real job. And before you say, "Well, that's mean," how many of these refs actually have NFL officiating as a career? Because
What? What?
is NFL officiating a career or is it a side job?
It's probably a career. I mean,
I would, but see, I see it as
they
a
get
side job.
paid. What?
Like you get a call every week and say, "I need you to officiate this game."
I'm just they get paid a living wage
Oh
and then
yeah,
some. Like
but I'm
NBA
saying,
refs get that's probably their livelihood.
well, I'm saying like think about it this way: is
What?
NFL officiating like a job that pays well on the side that you can have another career during it?
I don't. I mean, maybe
That's
when
what I'm
it's
saying.
not. I'm sure maybe, but I feel like they don't need to. Like I bet this is their career. Like they retire as refs.
Point is, it's gone downhill over the years. I always joke that they need to get a real job because they're not good. They've gone downhill so much. They tried to do the DPI challenge, and then when they did, only like
That was terrible.
only two of them ever got overcalled. It's bad. They can't tell in real life. Granted, I'm not saying I can go down there and say, "Oh, yeah, that's DPI." You know, like that. I'm sure it's a very hard call to make in the second, but especially like when we can notice it right away and you can't,
Yeah.
that's the issue.
I will
It's been
say
bad.
my quick thoughts. It's bad, and they have tried to fix it in the past with that pass interference thing that they try to do. But for some reason, when there was obvious pass interference, they didn't decide to reverse it, so that failed miserably. So they just got rid of it. But I feel like it's never going to be perfect. Maybe they could have like a sky cam ref or something, like a ref in the press box, and they can like call down if like the refs miss something. I don't know, like if like, hey, you didn't call
There'll
this
be
holding.
penalties every 5 seconds.
It'd be like, hey, I saw a holding, you guys didn't call it, or hey, like the TJ during the Rams game when Puka Nakua had a big catch, TJ Watt was being held and they didn't call it. There could be like a ref from the press box, like, hey, y'all missed this TJ Watt hold. Here, throw the flag, or like,
Or or hear me out. I like your idea, but I can also see the flaws with it. Think of it this way: only the refs on the ground can make the call. So, like, let's say there's holding on number 76 on the offense, right?
yeah.
With that, it goes up to the sky cam and they look at it and see if it was the right call or not.
I don't know about that. I feel like that would just be like every play is under review, but more of just a very quick,
Well, that's
a
what I'm saying.
very. It wouldn't have to be like a judge ref, like let's ask him and verify it. It'd be more of just like if they miss something, or let's say if it, like sometimes where referees like go in a huddle and they talk about it, like maybe the sky ref could be in that huddle and be talking too
Yeah,
of like what he saw.
something.
So that's just an idea. That's an idea. Just an extra eye that could see the field better. But that's my idea. Or just like I feel like the refs should have like they should like speak to the press and stuff like that. Like they should be asked about certain calls and like what they saw, because I feel like the refs, like I don't know if fining refs would be the solution, but like I feel like the refs should have to like go to a press box and like answer the press like what they thought with certain calls or non calls. I would just love to hear that. I think that would be another fun solution, just so the refs
Hey,
have some more accountability.
Ed Ockley was my favorite referee. Yes, there are penalties in the Pro Bowl.
That was fun. That was. But we still have a couple more questions. We are going to go over an hour, so I do apologize. Normally we keep this around an hour, but oh well. Um, I have a personal question for you actually, because you mentioned it. I was going to ask it anyway. You mentioned the Spider-Man game. How's it been so far?
Dude, it's game of
Spider-Man,
the year. It is game
Spider-Man
of the year.
2 on PS5 right now.
It's game of the year, 100%. It's the most fun I've had in playing a video game. That and Hogwarts have been my two
Wow.
favorite games of the year. It's just one of those games. I was playing last night, and it was 11:30, and I was like, I'm just gonna swing by this house, get to this mission, and then I'll log off, and then play it tomorrow. So it was getting late. I wanted to go to bed. Well, threw me in the mission, and I just kept playing. It's like, whoops. But no, it's truly a fun game. Shout out to Jordan's roommate up at school. He got it, and when I was visiting them, he literally completed the game that day.
Wow.
He said, he texted me later, and he said, all I have to say is wow. But it is a really fun game. If you have the chance and you have a PlayStation, definitely play it. I think it is game of the year for sure.
I remember the old days on my Xbox 360 where there was a Spider-Man game and I was playing it. I think Carnage was the main villain. It was like the Amazing Spider-Man 2. So it was kind of based off of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie,
Yeah.
but like loose. So like Elektra, there was a mission with him. Green Goblin, there was a mission with him. Then there's like other characters and stuff as well. Those were the days. That was an old game though. But yeah, I'm an Xbox owner. I don't have access to a Spider-Man 2 game. I would have to sell my Xbox, get a PS5, but therefore lose all of my Xbox games. So I would have maybe once I don't even know. Once I
Once the
like
price drops, once it becomes like
that,
a PS, like, no.
I would have to wait for like all of my Xbox games to be like outdated to the point where I wouldn't use any of them anymore, and then be able to switch if I ever was.
Or if they come out with like a PS Digital or something, you could get that and play the Spider-Man games.
Yeah, or they could just make Spider-Man cross-platform, like most other games are becoming now.
No.
Like all these other games are starting to become cross-platform in gaming. Like it's very rare now for like good exclusive games. I don't know. I don't care. I watched the whole Spider-Man game on YouTube. I know what happens. I should just start spoiling it right now. But
I will be so mad.
I'm kidding.
All right.
Venom is in the game.
Did he know that?
The-
All right. My sister has a
yeah.
bunch of questions. So far, four in fact. We're gonna run through these because why
We
not?
already answered one of them.
We already did, so we got three more. Tyrod Taylor or Daniel Jones? I think she put this question in because of how decently Tyrod Taylor played against the Bills and how
He's a beast.
decently he actually played against the Commanders.
Tyrod Taylor is so good. He is, I mean, God, Dan Smith and I, back in the old days when Tyrod Taylor was like with the Chargers, we would always love talking about Tyrod Taylor. And yeah, he is so good. He is such a good quarterback. He always has been. He is better than Daniel Jones. They need to bench Daniel Jones. I don't know why they extended Daniel Jones to a $40 million deal per year when they have Tyrod Taylor. They should just bench Daniel Jones. I'm not going to lie. But jokes aside, Daniel Jones will be the starter no matter what. So enjoy the Tyrod Taylor run when you got it.
All right. Moving on. Is Connor Bedard living up to the hype?
He's had a couple goals, I think, but it's too early to tell with Bedard.
That's
Like, I'll give an example of a guy, Jack Hughes for the Devils. His year one sucked, pretty much, and he was the first overall pick. But right now, it's like his year 4 or year 5, something like that. I think year 4, and he's already one of the best players in the league right now. So with hockey players, they take time to develop completely. By the time it's year 3 or so, year 3, year 4, I think they're at their peak in a way, or they'll find their true potential. So it is early for Bedard. So like whatever Bedard does this season, it doesn't really matter. It really depends on the future seasons. But he has been very exciting, I would say. He's had a good role in the Blackhawks. So I think he is for the time being. Next question from Carlin's sister. Is Malkin going to have a comeback season? I feel like he already is. I feel like he already has started a comeback season. He's been very good. He scored again in the most recent game. He's just been very good. The best player on the Penguins right now. But yeah, I think he is having a comeback season. Your thoughts, Carlin?
Yeah, no, this man, he's doing a lot better than he has been last season. He led goals at one point too, or points, as I should say. Um, and yeah, he's just been a lot more dominant, especially for him getting up there in the age and being one of the oldest players on the roster. So it's nice to see. I hope he does have a comeback season. I hope we do end up winning the Stanley Cup this year or next year, so all three of them can like retire and be done, go out on top, because
Yes,
that's the way they deserve to go out, in my opinion.
I do agree.
And that goes with any like legendary player. Like low key, I kind of wanted Brady to win and retire just so he could go out as the greatest of all time. But
yeah, he went out losing
yeah,
to the Dallas Cowboys. So there's that.
in the
But
worst record ever.
yeah. 2 more questions, and these come from Lance. I was talking with Lance earlier today, and he gave me these questions. There's one directed to Carlin and one directed to me. So, first one, haha. How is good old Rocky Top doing,
They
Carlin?
blew a freaking lead. They were killing Alabama like 20-7 or something. They had the game in the bag. They were playing great, and then Alabama was like, no.
Yeah, for some of you listeners who have not listened to our college football episodes, we love talking about Tennessee because Carlin loves Tennessee for some reason, and you don't get to sing it this time because they lost. But and it's also not the college football episode. But yeah, Tennessee played Alabama. Me and Lance was on the episode. We picked Bama. Carlin picked Tennessee. Tennessee lost. And for some reason, Tennessee is still ranked. They are 21. So technically they will
Really?
be. Yeah, for some reason, I think they went from. Let me see what it was. They were 17. They only dropped 4 spots for some reason. So they are still ranked.
Penn State
But
lost to the number 3 team in the country, and they only dropped 3 spots.
yeah, but that's also the number 3 team. So it was close technically. But Tennessee is still ranked, so they will be mentioned in Thursday's episode. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, they play Kentucky this week, who Kentucky was ranked at one point. So I might not pick Tennessee. We will see. So stay tuned for Thursday's episode. It will be very exciting. But final question. This is directed to me. Another one from Lance. I just lost the questions because I was looking at college football.
How are you enjoying your time at the radio, John? That's the
There
question.
it is. Thank you. Yeah, I think I've mentioned the radio here and there. I think one episode I talked about it in general. I have been enjoying it. Lance and I do it. Lance also does the paper portion of it too, so he does some writing. But I do enjoy it. I try to do it weekly, Wednesdays, sometimes on Saturdays. You could hear me. I don't know about this week if you can hear me or not on it, but it's been fun. I like speaking. I like speaking over the air. It's been good experience, and I've enjoyed it so far. I wish I
Have
did it
you
earlier.
have you called a game yet?
No, I've not. There hasn't been an opportunity,
I would love for
really.
you to call a game. I will
Well,
listen.
the one opportunity to call a game was with soccer, and I don't know soccer all that well. So I would be a terrible commentator.
That'd be awesome. I'd pay good money to see that.
I mean, I could do football, but I think that those opportunities aren't there this year. Ideally, if I would be calling games, it would be in the spring or next fall,
Yeah, you could call
potentially.
basketball. You could call baseball even. Baseball's not that hard to call.
Yeah, it just depends on what's available at the radio. I'm not really sure how it works yet with that or like what opportunities are available. Essentially, how it is the more I participate, the more I will be known, and eventually opportunities would arise. But yeah, I'm taking my time. I'm moving up the ranks. Hopefully, we'll get more opportunities in the future. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think Lance is also enjoying it too. So U92 the Moose, West Virginia people, go listen to that. I'm sure you've heard of it before. So I'm a part of it. But that's going to do it for this Under the Lights episode. We kind of went over, or an hour and 10, the point we're recording. So went a bit long this episode, but thank you all for listening. Thank you to everyone who sent in questions for this week. The rest of this week, it's going to be a short week. I'm kind of confirming that on the fly. I know we didn't really talk about it. Wednesday will be football, NFL. We'll do our recap. Very weird week in the NFL. I think I went negative this week in my predictions, so it was bad. And we're going to discuss all of that in our predictions for the upcoming week on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I believe we will do college football. I'm skipping fantasy this week because my weekend, I'm planning that out. And I might be going home for the whole weekend. I'm planning that out right now. But Thursday will be college football instead of Friday. So stay tuned for that. We will talk all about week 9, all of our predictions, and including Tennessee, including Penn State, including all of those beautiful ranked teams. So stay tuned for Wednesday, stay tuned for Thursday, but make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter/X, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. This episode is on YouTube right now as we speak. You can find all of those links and all of our podcast platforms in the link in bio. If you are an Apple Podcast or Overcast, go to the podcast website and click the link in bio there. But other than that, very fun Under the Lights episode. We will be back next week with another Under the Lights. But with Carl and Jacob, I am John Dodera. Have a great day, everyone, and see you next time on Inside the Dome.